Hey guys, today's a tough one. Very tough. It's taken me a lot of courage and strength to sit here to talk about this. But before I start, I just want to share my condolences to Jeremy's family and friends. Jeremy's the young man that sadly took his own life due to depression after being released by his former club, Manchester City. The news has absolutely broken me and my family. I called my mum this morning, she burst into tears. Of course, as a parent, losing a child could, of course, be the worst experience that you could ever go through. But having been through something very similar to that, it touched us even more. I've always said football needs to do more. It needs to do more to protect their players. Especially these young players that have the dream to become professional footballers, etc., etc. I just believe that there should be some sort of aftercare for players, especially young players that have been released. You can't just take away their dream and expect them to move on like nothing ever happened. Some of these boys, football's all they know. Football's all they breathe, football's all they think. It's very similar for my younger brother, who played at the highest level that you could think of, for some of the best clubs that you could think of. And it just got taken away from him just like that. And till now, he hasn't fully recovered. And it's been difficult for myself. It's been difficult for the whole family. It's been difficult for his friends. Because once someone changes, especially so drastically, you just don't know how to kind of communicate with that person. My younger brother got released by Reading at 16 and got sectioned into a mental home after. As much as I wanted my brother to be here to tell his story, I sat down with my family, of course, and I felt it was best he wouldn't be present. But I'm glad that they gave me the blessing to obviously speak on behalf of my brother and share his story. And hopefully it can change lives. Because something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. Just like Jeremy, my brother was an inspiring player growing up, happy, confident, amazing. I'm not just saying it because he was my brother. I promise you, I'm not just saying that. I was into football myself, but I actually stopped playing football just to watch him every weekend. I did not want to miss a game. I've not seen anyone as phenomenal as he was on the football pitch. He scored goals that I've never seen before. Actually watching it whilst you're there, I was overwhelmed. I was taken away with some of the things that he used to do on the pitch. He's played for some of the biggest clubs that you could think of. Obviously, having been born and raised in Germany, he played for Concordia and went on to play for Hamburg. Then we made the decision to actually, of course, move to United Kingdom, where he continued his football career at MK Dons. When he was at MK Dons, he was their top goal scorer. So much that obviously other clubs were eyeing him up and were very much interested. Clubs such as Leicester, Chelsea and Reading. But at the time, of course, Chelsea knocking on your doors, we as a family got so excited, like, you get it, it's Chelsea, you feel me? So they came to see us. Well, one of the scouts came to see us, and of course spoke to us in regards to their interest, and we actually went to Chelsea Football Club to kind of like finalise things. But they offered a 6-week trial instead of giving him a contract straight away, whereas Leicester and Reading were happy to, of course, give him a contract straight away. That would also go into a scholarship. But at the time we had family in Reading, so we thought the best thing to do is obviously move him to Reading. He did have a game with Leicester. He played one game with Leicester against Villa and scored 2 goals. But initially we made the decision that he's going to go to Reading due to the fact that we have family there and he can stay with there and still be supervised by adults. Again, at Reading, did what he does best, score goals. Man of the match performances. top speed, you know, phenomenal young player. But then, for whatever reason, Reading decided they're not going to renew their contract. With my brother, he breathed football. He lived football. Like, he would sleep with his football boots. That's how mad it was. Like, we had to force his football boots off him. Like, he would go to sleep wearing his football boots. Like, he just loved football. And then being in a position where all you dream about is being a professional football player, playing at the highest level in front of thousands of fans, hearing them scream your name, etc. You know, and then all of a sudden sitting in front of these coaches and being told you're not good enough. To them, anyway. You know, you're just not good enough, and you won't be getting a professional contract. It absolutely broke him. Now, thank God, and I thank God every single day that my brother's still alive. But you have to understand, when he went through his depression, which he's still going through right now, it's almost like losing someone. I kind of felt like my brother was dead. It's almost like I can see the physical him standing in front of me, but that's not my brother. That's not my best friend. That's not the person that I grew up with, watched every weekend, the confident guy that would come to my face and say, go on then, let's play FIFA, I'm going to beat you. He just absolutely stopped talking, wouldn't say a word, and then started talking to himself after a little while. So when he did start talking, it would only be to himself. Look around the room, and I'm thinking, who's he talking to? Then one day, he had an episode. He decided to actually take my car. Bear in mind, he's never driven a car before. He's never had a lesson before. And I normally leave my car keys on the stairs. That day, he decided to take my car keys, drive my car to God knows where. We get a knock on the door in the morning, and it was the police standing outside. I've opened the door, and my brother's in the car. And I'm thinking, what's happened? First of all, we all thought he was upstairs. Why is he in a police car? And the police basically explained that they saw him on the motorway, just parked in the middle of the motorway with my car. And there wasn't a single scratch on the car. Till now, I'm still baffled to how he drove from our home to the motorway without a single scratch. Bear in mind, he's never driven a car before. Only God knows. So eventually when the police left, of course I got pissed off. I was so annoyed. And I held him and I said, what is wrong with you? Like, wake the fuck up, man. Like, enough's enough. And he just saw red and absolutely attacked me, took a knife and threatened to stab myself and my mum. Eventually, he opened the door and the whole scene was happening outside. And that was about 7 a.m. in the morning. So a lot of the kids were getting ready to go to school or going to school. So obviously when the neighbours saw and were frightened, they called the police. Police came and arrested my brother. And I remember him lying on the floor, screaming, saying, what have I done? Why am I being arrested? And despite everything that was happening, my mum was screaming, let him go. Despite the fact that our life was under severe threat, we didn't want the police to take him away because he's not a criminal. Eventually, when the police took him to the station, they realised obviously there's something wrong. So they decided to take him to the mental home, and he was there for 6 months. And I was there every single day with my mum. My dad was there too. And I just knew that he doesn't belong there. Now, I'm not saying there could have been many factors to what pushed him towards depression. But as far as I'm concerned, he was a happy young kid growing up. Didn't have any issues at school. Was very much loved by every student, every teacher. Football clubs, friends, whatever. Very popular, very confident, you know. He didn't have no issues. And then all of a sudden, after he got released, I couldn't recognize him anymore. And it's been difficult. You know, I can only thank my mum, who's been an absolute soldier. She's gone from church after church, from country to country, to try and save her son. Although there were times where we had disagreements, I saw the good intentions that she had. This is a mother that just wants to save her son. And there were a few times where he was suicidal. There was a few times where he woke up and he looked in the mirror and thought, I don't want to live like this anymore. Sorry. I remember taking him back to Reading for the first time. A lot of his friends were obviously there. And normally we play football at Prospect Park on a Sunday. He was so quiet, man. My brother was so quiet, and people are not used to seeing him like that. So already, you know, people started wondering what's going on. And when we played football, they passed the ball to him. He's our go-to. He's the person that you pass the ball to. If you want goals, pass the ball to my brother. It's that simple. So where we passed the ball to him, this is a moment I will never forget. He just looked at the football and didn't know what to do with it. Completely looked at it as if he's never seen it before in his life and just didn't know what to do with it. So it got to a point where I just had to take him off the pitch and said, it's cool, just get back into the car, man. And he sat in the car and obviously watched us play. I can't express it enough, man. Football needs to do more for these kids, especially after they've been released. Football needs to do more about mental health in general, not just for children, but even grown adults that are playing at the highest level. They need to be more protected. You know, we see what goes on with the amount of abuse that they get, and people will sit there and say, yeah, well, if I'm getting paid all that money, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll just accept all the abuse. Nah, they're human. It's a beautiful game that has been ruined by racism, trolls, just so much darkness within football or within sports in general that a lot of people don't seem to want to accept simply because it's a sport that pays a lot. Take away the money, man. They are still human. You feel me? But football needs to do more to protect the players. Sports needs to do more to protect, you know, sportsmen and sportswomen. Like I said, I thank God every day that my brother's still alive. But I lost my brother for about 10 years. I did not recognize him and I didn't know what to do. None of my family members knew what to do. And as he's still recovering, we're still fighting. And he's getting better and better each day. So to the many players out there that love the game as much as we do, this beautiful game that we call football, one thing I'll say is, if there's obviously anything that you're going through, speak to someone. Speak to someone. Don't suffer in silence. And I just want to give a massive, massive shout out to Mersey Football Club as well. They gave my brother a chance to fall in love with the game again. It took him many years to play football again. After a long while, many, many years, he wanted to play again. He came to me and said, bro, I miss it. And I felt it'd be good for his development to get him back into the sport that took away his life at one point. I thought maybe that would be what he needs to be the normal him again. You see what I'm saying? So we went to a lot of clubs, and a lot of clubs just rejected him. They knew of him and they knew his CV and they knew how good he was before, but they just felt he wasn't good enough now. But Mersey Football Club accepted him, mentored him, and he became one of their top players. Thank you so much for making my brother believe again. Thank you so much for making my brother fall in love with the sports again and fall in love with his life. He wants nothing in this life but to be happy and play football. And you guys gave him the opportunity to do that. Words can't even express how thankful and grateful we are as a family. I am as a brother. So again, hold tight you guys, man, honestly. I appreciate it. To everyone else, his friends, the few that stuck around to push him, to check up on him, I appreciate you guys. I'm not here to judge those that ended up turning their back on him, because I know it's difficult. Even me as his brother, I struggled to be close to him. That was my best friend growing up. And then all of a sudden, I just didn't know how to communicate with him. I would go to places and not take him with me. My parents started seeing how separated we are growing up. Or I would say, since his mental health started, it's so difficult. So I do understand. But to those that stuck around, honestly, God bless you all. Hopefully, my brother's story can change lives. Jeremy's story can change lives. I know it will. But yeah, rest in peace, Jeremy. Gone but never forgotten.